Ninja and Flannel. So I'm actually in a hotel, working on the road, working like 7 days a week, 12-hour days, stuff like that. So don't have too much time, but I kind of want to do a little rundown of the night vision build I set up with this Matador Arms Mat 9K roller delay. So it gets a little bit complicated when you're working with PCCs, when you're trying to get them set up for night vision, because you start running out of real estate real quick like. So real quickly, I want to go over everything I've done on this Mat 9 so far, and one small thing I probably would change and that you may run into yourself. So here we go, just kind of want to go into the build and how I set this guy up for myself. So first we'll go over some of the basics of a night shooting setup in case you're not quite familiar. First of all, you're going to need a white light because you can't shoot silhouettes and you need to be able to ID targets. So anything that might even remotely be used for home defense or anything real life absolutely needs white light. So this time I just went with a Surefire, kind of one of their mini turbo type deals. Doesn't really matter what model number it is, but it does matter because of the availability for different plugs. And there are a lot of options. We'll get a little bit into that, but not too much. After that, your white light, you then have infrared. And the infrared is obviously, you can only see it through night vision. You can only see the infrared spectrum that way. For that, I went with an AMMJ laser, which has a visible laser, an infrared laser, and an infrared illuminator. On top of that, I have mounted an RMR footprint Meprolite red dot, and then that is on an Aimpoint T2 footprint riser here. Then I'm using a Unity dual switch with a white light activation and the laser activation on the back, dual switch. On the front, very important, is flash suppression with night gear. I'm actually using an RR Weapons Exordium 9K. This is a very short can. You're not gonna get crazy suppression out of it, but it's got pretty good reduction and it's very maneuverable, still fits in like a backpack or range bag or anything without making your setup too long. And that's pretty much my entire build of how I set it up. And then we'll get into exactly why I place these in each spot. So you'll see with a lot of long guns that you'll actually have your aiming laser mounted as low as possible, as far forward as possible. Behind that, you will have your activation switches. The flashlight will be in the same spot, kind of that 1 to 2 o'clock section of your rail. Then you'll have an optic in the rear mounted a bit higher. Now for PCCs, it doesn't work because you don't have enough room forward for your aiming laser, unless you do a handguard extension over a suppressor, which is a possibility. If you want to keep it short, what I did was I've messed with the GBRS Hydra mounts, which I'm not really a fan of. There's a place for them, but it's just not with me. So what I did was I went with this AMMJ, I think it's the Numbra, I think that's how you pronounce it, the laser. These are at a pretty steep discount right now, just keep that in mind, like very steep, so check that out. But what I liked about this is that it goes on a T2 footprint, so you can pick any height you want. And then there's an RMR print on top for your red dots, that takes care of your daytime shooting. Then that leaves the space up front open for your activation switches, and then your flashlight wouldn't be affected at all. Charge handle on the side, or you could flip this around and make it lefty. Then you got your suppressor, and everything is nice, streamlined, and compact. So far, I have tinkered with this a lot. It's surprisingly complicated. This has been my best night vision kind of setup and way I've arranged the real estate. One thing to note as well is your dual switch is going to be a little bit complicated. You're going to need like a crane plug for the back of your laser. And then the other side, you will need like for me, it's a Surefire. It has to match whatever your light is. It's a little harder to find than you think. The difficult part when you do things like a Hydra mount or this is that you need a very long crane plug and then a standard Surefire plug here. So the Surefire for this one is 7 inches. The crane plug is actually 14 inches because it needs to come from here, loop around, and come all the way back into the back of your laser. So pretty quick video. Like I said, I'm on the road, so I don't got my whole setup. But hopefully this is helpful because I've done a lot of work and a lot of building and tearing apart and building and tearing apart to get the kind of the PCC thing nailed down. And now it seems to be going pretty good. So hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully I'll be back in my normal studio making regular videos pretty soon.